now with Rossi, the session leader. Let's take a look at what he was up to in turn one. Wow. See, that's one of those tricky situations, Townsend, where he either didn't commit enough. Oh, he lost it a bit on entry. He had to turn out of it, and then he was kind of in no man's land. You either want to be fully committed over that curb and have your right side tires up against that guardrail, or you just want to have them on the red and white apex.
He got the kicker.
He got right in between, cased the bottom of the car, and
I'm here on Peacock. And there's Will Power going around and barely keeping the rear wing off the barrier.
Kevin, that is over in the final corner on the entrance to turn 12, and that is the pit lane entrance for the support paddock. We saw Scott Dixon
Can you restart here?
Saw Dixon use that yesterday, and Will Power must have had a massive moment to end up where he is right now.
Oh, so lucky.
This looks a lot like how I pull into most valets at the hotels we go to.
Honestly, that is exactly where Dixon made that there in the top four.
And quick correction, I forgot, we've got 28 because of the four.
Yeah, Ray Rob's going to find the fence.
Oh, is into the wall.
Yep, I lost it.
So second red flag of this session, and this one does involve wall contact. By the way, we had not seen Kyle Kirkwood until the last moment. Now he is.
Yeah, I'm all good. It wasn't very big. Don't know what happened there. We bottomed more on the way through, but then just looped.
Again, that high-speed chicane, 10-11. Yeah, it went around a lot earlier than what we've seen in the other ones. But you hear him say about the bottoming, the end of the back straight there as you head into turn 10. That is sort of the fastest part of the racetrack. That's where we can, even from the onboards, you can hear the floor just skipping across the racetrack. And if you're just a little bit too low, or your tire pressures aren't quite high enough, when you fully commit, it's so easy to just bottom a little bit and upset the balance of the car.
It's really the same moment that Will Power and Scott did. I'll finish that point later. Right front.
Do you think he clipped? Did he clip the apex in turn one there? Just get too close to the wall. Yeah.
Oh boy, that was
that's a Monaco
way wrong.
It's a Monaco Grand Prix
swimming pool
PC section. Exactly. Oh wow! Because that tire was down, the ride height was so much lower when he hit that curb. It really launched that thing airborne.
And there's going to be probably some pretty good suspension or steering arm damage.
That feels so brutal from inside the cockpit of an Indy car because you're sitting so low. Just a few centimeters of foam underneath your backside. But yeah, this is easy to do. You just kind of misjudge it a little bit more front grip than you were expecting.
Luckily, I was watching Rosenquist's left hand up and thinking, wow, that must have been a big hit through the steering system, but it didn't look like a massive shock. Let's see on board. See what I mean? There was almost no kickback.
I'm not sure there's even suspension damage. The rim's broken, the tire's off, but
yeah, the stub axle coming off the upright's fully mushroomed, so
that's true.
That needs to be replaced.
I've been marveling at the durability of the Dallara as they launch over these curbs. If this survives this, that's saying another level.
I just think he should be really thanking the fact that his hand, there just didn't seem to be a lot of steering kickback the way it just didn't twist the tire. It just sort of center punched it.
I think it's because he just maybe caught it not with the leading edge of the tire, it just really did catch the side, so it didn't pull it out of his hands. Also, hitting Armco compared to hitting, you can see how
many of the diagrams.
Well, let's see here. Let's have a look.
Oh, you're right. Right rear must have fallen off on the grass, and
that might even been an outlap for him. That left front looks like it's still got the chalk line around it.
Cold tires, which would also explain how you slid so far. More deceleration ability in the drier grass and dirt section right here. Let's take another look.
Just barely made contact with the wall.
You don't see that a lot out of Alex Palou. Sometimes on a Friday practice, right? Indianapolis comes to mind, or sorry, Road America.
Road America, yeah.
But rarely in qualifying, if ever.
But again, he's made a great start, up from 6th on the grid to 4th. And we see some moves now. That's on to Dixon into turn 7. Is that Kirkwood? We've seen this before, Townsend. Drivers getting pushed wide on the exit there. Dixon falling like a rock.
Massive penalty.
Contact.
This will be a big hit.
Dixon hard into the wall. One of the championship contenders is out and done.
Not sure who clipped
Well, that
Dixon,
was quick.
but it ripped the steering wheel out of his hand, if not broke the steering arm. And it's good to hear.
Yeah, fine, man. The 27 fuck, man. That's the other dude just waste.
27 is Kyle Kirkwood, that Dixon was side by side with when he got pushed off into the grass. And then Dixon, so good to hear his voice, because that was a pretty big hit into the Armco. That's a steel, hard steel barrier on the back straightaway as Chip Ganassi watches on.
We've seen this move a lot in the last year. Passes on the inside of 7, push a car wide. Everyone's trying to get around. It's 3 wide there. That's at the 30.
Pietro Fittipaldi.
So they made it through the chicane, but not the backstretch. We're under caution at Portland. With 10 to Scott Dixon. We saw him climb out of the car. We heard him. We'll hear from him as the number 9 PNC Bank car is towed away. All right, let's go back and see what happened, because there was a lot going on after they got through the chicane. Dixon got a little bit of a hip check, and then it was the second contact that sent him flying.
So watch Scott Dixon in that orange and blue car. This is the start, though, as Will Power drafts up perfectly on Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, that
Ferrucci knows he's there, James, gives him lots of room, and then gets a little squeeze there.
Little squeeze, and then he squeezes Palou a little bit. Palou doing a good job getting out of the throttle to avoid contact. That's what made him have to throw a little bit of a block on Grosjean into 4. You see Dixon all the way down the inside trying to make moves. There's Newgarden as well, fanning out 5 wide further back, but amazingly, no meaningful contact back through the grid. Grosjean using those softer alternate tires in a sea of primaries. And here's Dixon. Push wide, cars going by. And you see
Pietro Fittipaldi cases it on that little apex curb kink, which is sort of the start of turn 8, the curved back straightaway. I'm sure Pietro had no idea that that elevation was going to bounce him into Dixon. Race control will probably review that closely.
I think they're going to see it as probably a racing incident. And here's the thing, if he's a few inches further to driver's right, you don't line up the center of the tub on that curb, he probably gets away without getting the front end up in the air.
I don't agree with you, James. I think this is avoidable contact. Even if Pietro didn't know that the curb would do that, he's still the one initiating the move. He absolutely takes out Dixon. Dixon, a totally innocent victim in that situation. So it'll be interesting to see how it's called. Let's listen to the radio here.
Now, because the penalty won't.
Gap just a little bit, just over a half a second, maybe 3-4 car lengths in the DHL Honda behind Will Power in the Verizon Chevy.
These two have opened a healthy
No,
gap.
contact down in turn 1, seemingly at least a car backwards, as Pietro Fittipaldi and Connor Daly get together.
Guys, I don't think Pietro did the proper route through the chicanes in the runoff of the chicane, the barriers that race control puts up. Let's take a look at what happened here.
So Fittipaldi comes to the inside looking for the overtake. Is he there enough?
And to James's point, we'll get to that in a second, Pietro was supposed to make a hard left.
No, it's right front to left rear, fully locked up. What you're going to see from race control's point is the car that was making the pass has more responsibility. He came in out of control with the brake locked and took out another car. So bad break for Connor Daly.
More than likely, that'll be a second drive-through penalty for Pietro Fittipaldi.
And there might be a third coming.
No power, really setting the trend for the rest of the
Grosjean.
field as Romain Grosjean is stalled.
What?
And backwards. Did he get help?
Brutal result after a great run going. These hybrid systems should technically allow you to restart. And that was, he had it running.
He got that left rear kicker as he is able to restart his car. It comes right in front of Christian Rasmussen.
That was lazy. That was foolish to not look in your mirror and know what was coming when you're turning around. He just did it again.
Just about got Toby Sowery there, I think.
Got the flat. He didn't get hit. He drove straight into the 20. That's the wrong way of wording that one. And oh no, left rear down. It's going to be a long lap to get it around.
Long trip.
That was probably you.
That was.
What happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. You lost
Sloppy.
control with the left rear getting that kicker off the turn 1 apex, and to your point, just drove right across the race running traffic.
There's so much tarmac down there in turn 1 to make that spin around. He could have even gone the other direction. Let's take a look again. So he spins around and then just drives straight for the racing line.
What is that all about?
He should be nowhere near that curve. That's
Totally agree.
100% on the 77. I feel bad for Rasmussen. I hope there's no damage on the front of the 20.
Oh, and I see Rasmussen dropping, so is he stopping? And remember, he's in that tight battle for the last leading circle points paying position. 22nd in entrant points.
This is a replay on the left.
You can see wing damage there for Rasmussen, I think.
I'm going to give credit to the hybrid system for getting the car started, but yeah, look at that damage on the 20. Georgia, what are they saying on the radio?
Well, he's in the pits right now. They changed the nose wing and put new tires on it, but there is pretty heavy damage on the front of the 20.
Yeah, like it's a tough one. That's one.